you know that 67% of Americans use laundromats at least once a year? Meet Sarah, a former office worker who felt trapped in her 9-to-5 job. She discovered the hidden potential of laundromat ownership and transformed her life. This overlooked industry sees $5 billion in quarters changing hands annually. That's billion with a B. Yet very few consider a path to financial freedom. Instead of chasing tech startups, savvy investors are quietly building wealth with boring businesses like laundromats. Today, I'm going to guide you through how ordinary people are escaping the daily grind using these cash-generating machines to achieve financial independence and freedom. So let's talk about the 9-to-5 prison and why you feel trapped. That moment when you're sitting at your desk, watching the clock tick, wondering, is this all life has to offer? You're not imagining things. Millions of people feel the same frustration every single day. The truth is, most jobs aren't designed to give you freedom. They're designed to keep you showing up, trading your best hours for a paycheck that barely covers your bills. Think about what you've missed this year because of your work. Your kid's school play, that doctor's appointment you had to reschedule 3 times, the family vacation that got cut short because you didn't have enough PTO. Have you ever been on vacation and just dreaded coming back and wanting to stay so much longer? That's what we're talking about here. The average American will spend over 90,000 hours working in their lifetime. That's more than 10 solid years of your life given to a company that would post your job opening before your goodbye lunch was over. Here's what nobody tells you about the 9-to-5 grind. It's stealing your time and shrinking your dreams. Think about when you were a kid and what you wanted to be spending your time doing. Maybe it was being an astronaut or a doctor or, I don't know, a Broadway singer and dancer. I don't know, whatever it is, right? Think about where you're at now and how that compares to what your childhood dreams are. They have been shrinking and shrinking and shrinking as this world has told you that you cannot achieve the dreams that you are wanting to achieve. That Sunday night anxiety that you feel, that is your body's way of telling you that this system is not working. Studies show that 85% of people hate their jobs, but they stay because of those golden handcuffs. You make just enough to pay your bills, but never enough to break free. And you know what the worst part is? Most people think they need some genius idea or special talent to escape. That's the trap. They wait for the perfect moment that never comes while their best years just slip away. I remember talking to a friend who finally made the leap. He said the real question isn't whether you can afford to leave your job, it's whether you can afford to stay for another decade. I've talked with so many people who've been thinking about buying a laundromat for years. I just had a consulting call this morning of somebody who said, I've been following you for years and I'm just now finally starting to take action. Here's the thing. If you never take the action, you are never going to achieve those dreams that you have. Let me show you how bad the math really gets here. Let's just say you're making $60,000 a year now, and you get a standard 3% raise each year. In 10 years, you'll be making $81,000. That is your reward for giving a company another decade of your life. Meanwhile, inflation, as we all know, is eating up most of that increase, if not more, leaving you running faster just to stay in place. And that's if you don't get laid off, restructured, or replaced by someone younger and cheaper, or someone overseas, or more pertinently right now, AI. That 9-to-5 job is like a golden cage, offering you comfort, but trapping you in a cycle of missed opportunities. Time. That's the only currency that matters. Every hour you spend building someone else's dream is an hour you're not spending building your own dream. The traditional job system is designed to keep you comfortable, but never free. I have felt that to my core. Yet you get just enough money to avoid panic, but never enough to create real options. I know more and more of us are feeling that lately with inflation going crazy, everything feeling like it's more expensive. Housing is getting out of reach for a lot of people, and it feels like we just can't get ahead. The personal sacrifices like lost moments with family directly linked to the concept of time as the only currency that matters. It's a system that keeps you in a loop where the cost of staying, listen, honestly, it's far greater than the risk of ever leaving. And I don't want to diminish that fear. That fear is real and it's a good thing. However, you've got to overcome that fear if you want to achieve any kind of dreams that you want in your life. So the question then is, what happens if nothing changes for you? Let me ask you something serious. Picture yourself 5 years from now if you keep doing exactly what you're doing today. The same commute, the same office politics, the same financial ceiling. Staying in a job that drains you isn't just about the money. It's about what happens to your ambition and your health and your mental health over time. I've seen it happen to so many people. In fact, my wife just made a huge career change because the job she was working was weighing heavily on her mental health. And over time, your dreams slowly shrink to fit your reality because you stay too long in a situation that limits your potential. I've talked to dozens of people in their 50s and 60s who all say the same thing, and maybe you have too. Their biggest regret isn't about mistakes they've made, it's about chances they didn't take when they had the opportunity. One guy told me he put off starting his own business for 20 years because the timing wasn't right. By the time he finally made the move, his kids were grown and he'd missed a chance to build the life he really wanted for his family. I don't need to tell you this, but the stress of financial certainty does more than just keep you up at night. Studies show it shortens your lifespan, leading to higher rates of heart disease and depression. Is that overtime really worth years off your life? Most people don't make the connection until it's too late. And here's what's worse. We trick ourselves into complacency. We tell ourselves, I'll figure it out next year, or once I get that promotion, things will be better. Does that sound familiar? But next year turns into 5 years, and that promotion often comes with even more hours and responsibility, and those golden handcuffs get just a little bit more tight. The perfect time never comes. You have to create it. And here's what most people don't realize about opportunity. Right now, while everyone's distracted by flashy tech startups, get-rich-quick schemes, there's massive opportunities in laundromats that are flying under the radar. This industry genuinely is undergoing major changes right now, and there's a lot of smart investors positioning themselves to benefit. And the window's not going to stay open forever. These deals are getting snapped up by people who understand the potential. The beautiful part about laundromats is how quickly they can change your financial picture. With the right location and operations, 95% of people can replace their 9-to-5 job with just 1 or 2 laundromats. That means in 90 to 120 days, you could be making about the same amount of money as you're making right now in your 9-to-5 without having to show up to the office every single day. The math works because laundromats generate cash flow 24/7, or at least as many hours as you're open, and you don't have to be there at all times. We call that flexible hours. People need clean clothes regardless of what the stock market is doing or whether there's a recession. So let me tell you about the laundromat solution to escape your 9-to-5. While everybody's chasing complicated business ideas, this simple business is generating 20 to 30% returns right under your nose. Laundromats may not be glamorous, although I might argue that they are glamorous. But they work because people always need clean clothes, regardless of what's going on in the economy. This $5 billion industry keeps thriving even when other industries struggle because laundry was an essential business before that was even a thing. And the numbers tell the real story. A well-run laundromat can earn $50,000 to $100,000 annually or more with just 10 to 15 hours of weekly management, or less, translating to $100 to $200 per hour. How does that compare to your current job's hourly rate? And this income continues whether you're there or not. Take Nick and Sarah Mackin, who are on episode 189 of the Laundromat Resource podcast that I host. They installed high efficiency machines in a mobile payment system, and they tripled their business. They tripled their business. Here's what most people get wrong about laundromats. You don't need special skills or education to run one successfully. Basic business sense and a willingness to learn are more valuable than any degree. Startup costs might surprise you too. You can buy an existing laundromat for $200,000 to $500,000 or a fixer-upper for $150,000 or less if you're willing to invest some sweat equity into that business. Money is by far the number one reason that people don't buy their first laundromat. They feel like they don't have enough. They feel like they can't come up with that kind of money. But listen, when it comes to financing a business like a laundromat, you're only limited by your own creativity. In fact, I want to help you out. I put together a video of 9 different ways to finance a laundromat business. And I'll put a link to that down in the description below, along with the link to the interview I did with Nick and Sarah Mackin, who tripled their business. So make sure you go check out those 2 videos after this one. But let's keep going with laundromats and why they're so great, especially right now. This industry is undergoing a revolution when it comes to technology. Card payment systems and app payment systems eliminate the hassle of stolen quarters. Remote monitoring lets you check machine status from your phone. There's all kinds of automation tools that handle a lot of the daily operations, allowing you to manage the business from anywhere with internet access. It's like having a remote money-making machine that runs 24/7. That's why many corporate refugees are making the switch. They're tired of being at their desk and tied to that desk. Quick note about operational costs, because that's a question I get asked all the time. Typically, a laundromat's operational costs run somewhere between $10,000 and $30,000 a month, including the 3 big expenses, which are rent, utilities, and labor. And including maintenance as well and all the other expenses. But smart owners keep these expenses under control. And at Laundromat Resource, we offer tools to help you navigate these numbers. What makes laundromats special is their cash flow model. Unlike businesses where you trade hours for dollars, these machines generate revenue around the clock. Customers come in at all hours, and each wash cycle adds up to your bottom line. The industry's growth is driven by urban populations and apartment dwellers with in-unit laundry. That demand is not going away. Successful owners focus on convenience like mobile apps for machine reservations, text alerts when cycles finishes. These small upgrades dramatically improve the customer experience while reducing your hands-on time. So this allows you to more easily manage your business and to do a much better job at serving your customers. And that is one of the consistent keys to success in the nearly 200 interviews I've done with laundromat owners on the Laundromat Resource podcast. So the question then is, how do you get started if you're interested in investing in a laundromat? First, you need to educate yourself thoroughly about the industry. We offer a free 3-class course that covers everything on how to buy your first laundromat. Down below, once again, I'll put a link to the playlist of that course. You can watch it right here on YouTube for free. I don't even ask for an email address, and that's gonna give you a great baseline on how you actually buy that first laundromat. Second, you need to research your local market. Look for neighborhoods with lots of apartments, but few laundry options. And then third, you need to explore your financing options. Again, don't assume you need all cash. Between traditional loans, SBA options, and specialized financing, there's multiple paths to ownership. Check out that video that I made on 9 different ways to finance a laundromat business. Okay, so let's get real for a minute here. The data is clear. Many small business owners report significantly higher life satisfaction compared to employees stuck in traditional jobs. Why is that? It's because when you own something like a laundromat, you gain control over both your time and financial future. Jason Foster, who's been on the podcast a few different times and has done some live Q&As, he's owned multiple businesses, including international businesses, and he raves about laundromats because laundromats have transformed his life. He sees the power in how this one small, boring business can bring in income and give him a freedom that most 9-to-5 workers only dream about. I want you to use some really great free resources to help get you started on your journey towards financial freedom through owning laundromats. Again, all those links are down below in the description. Make sure you go check out those videos. If you're excited about owning a laundromat and achieving financial freedom through laundromat ownership, listen, there's one thing that I've learned through my personal journey of buying my first laundromat. Things went terribly wrong, and I lost a lot of money and learned a lot of very expensive lessons. And my takeaway from all of that is when you're getting into something new, it's much better to do it with somebody who's already been where you're trying to go and who has already found all the pitfalls and landmines that could take you down along the way so that you can avoid them. If you want to learn more about how we at Laundromat Resource can help you avoid all the pitfalls and landmines and help you buy that first laundromat the right way the first time, check out laundromatresource.com/playbook, and let's get you on that path to financial freedom.